Chipped ham and football. That's what Pittsburgh does. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show presented by FanDuel. I'm Brian Batko, one of your Pittsburgh Post-Gazette Steelers beat writers. And we're going to go to the heartland of America today to talk to Kent Sterling, longtime morning host at Bloomington's Voice, WGCL, also host of his own YouTube channel. We can certainly appreciate that hustle, but looking forward to talking to Kent about the Colts and maybe a little bit about Indiana Hoosiers football and a certain quarterback who piques the interest of a lot of people here in Pittsburgh. As always, we're brought to you by Pella. No better place to get new windows and doors installed in your home than from Pella, who can help you save on your energy costs year-round. Schedule a free in-home consultation with your local Pella windows and doors to find the right product for your home and your budget. Give them a call at 866-593-1560 to discuss your project further. It's getting cold out there, folks. Get the windows and doors right. 866-593-1560 to get started planning your new windows and doors installation with Pella, Windows and Doors of Pittsburgh. All right, we'll be right back with Kent Sterling to talk all things Colts and whatever else we might get into here on Chipped Ham and Football. All right, and there's our guest for this week from the Heartland, Bloomington's Voice, longtime Colts and Indy media member, Kent Sterling. How you doing, Kent?
I'm good, Brian. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's good to see you. Thanks for joining me. Huge matchup on Sunday at Acrisure Stadium. I'm sure you've gotten this question many different ways over the last 8 weeks or so, but at this point, is it pretty clear that this Colts team is for real because they went from sort of frisky to really interesting to juggernaut in the course of these first couple months of the season?
I think they are. Daniel Jones is a guy who, in his best year, 2022 at the Giants, had 6 games with triple-digit passer rating. And now in his first 8 games here, he's got 7. And so that appears to be repeatable, appears to be sustainable, the way the coaches talk about what that offense is doing. Other than injuries, they are really, really hard to defend because they've got, with Tyler Warren coming in as a tight end, you've really got weapons at all levels. You've got Jonathan Taylor, who's the best all-purpose back, in my mind, in the NFL. You got Daniel Jones, who is an elite-level game manager, which is a complete surprise. You have 3 really good, different wide receivers. Pittman's kind of a ball control. Pierce is a deep threat. Downs is kind of that underneath guy that can find the holes in the seams. And you've got a really good offensive line, and everybody's healthy, so they are a mess to defend.
Yeah, I was going to say, how do you stop Jonathan Taylor? Because last I saw on FanDuel, he was plus 1,400 to win MVP. Now, those are long odds, but the only ones above him are quarterbacks. So Jonathan Taylor is having one of those Saquon-esque, Derrick Henry-esque seasons. I mean, what does a team do to try to slow him down? Because he's putting up junior playing JV numbers right now when you look at the yards per carry, Ken.
That's exactly right. He was 12.8 yards per carry this last game against the Titans, and that's massive. That was the highest number since the opener in 2024 for anyone.
Yeah.
And stopping him, I think you got to get him at the line of scrimmage, because what the Colts do really, really well is they block downfield at an exceptional level. Whether it's Warren or Pittman or Pierce, those guys are all really good blockers, and they take it very seriously. So if Taylor can pop through that first level, then it's about a 50-50 bet whether it's going to be a house call. He is just really, really good. He's got great straight line speed. He'll run away from you. If you let him get to the next level, he's gone.
It's amazing what a new coach, new scheme, new offense can do for a quarterback, like you were mentioning with Daniel Jones, with Danny Dimes. But it's also kind of amazing sometimes what good quarterback play can do for a supporting cast, because when you're reeling off those names, I guess before this season, I didn't necessarily think of Pittman, Pierce, Downs as like this great triumvirate of receivers. But now you see the way they're playing with Jones and, even this offensive line, like think they were always pretty good, but other than Quentin Nelson, I don't know if there's any like real huge names. And now you look at the whole and the sum of the parts, and they are clicking on all cylinders. So it's just been a match made in heaven with Jones, hasn't it? And Shane Steichen, who has eaten Mike Tomlin's lunch over the years, whether he's got Gardner Minshew or Anthony Richardson or Joe Flacco or Kent Sterling at quarterback.
It really is. Everybody talks about football being complementary, where if you've got a good offensive line, the quarterback's going to be better. And if you've got a good quarterback, the line's going to be better. And the same goes with the receivers. This is a very complementary group of non-elites. So I think other than Taylor and Nelson, like you mentioned, but Nelson is a really willing teammate. What you've got with the Colts are guys who are willing to be complementary players. Michael Pittman Jr., I think has the talent to be a really good, if not slightly better than really good, I'm not going to say great, level wide receiver in the NFL, but he's never had any guy to do it. And he's really, really happy being in that role. So you kind of do have this sort of perfect storm of 11 guys all kind of fighting for each other and doing their jobs at an exceptional level every single week, every single snap. And then you've got a coach in Steichen. He's not trying to validate some, offensive schematic ideology that he developed and that you've got to be kind of betrothed to. What he's trying to do is the best he can with the talent he's got. And the talent he's got is being served really well by Steichen's ideology. And so it's kind of at least through 8 games. I mean, it's early to call them, the greatest show on turf or some, a rival to that offense or a rival to the 07 Patriots. But what they're doing points per drive is kind of historic. They've scored touchdowns on 6 straight possessions in a game this year, and they're averaging more points per drive than any team ever other than the 2007 New England Patriots. So they are getting it done, and they're getting it done over the long haul against good defenses, bad defenses, all the defenses in between. We'll see what happens this week against the Steelers.
I was going to say it really is video game numbers, and the schedule the Colts have played, not the toughest. You get the Titans twice already. That certainly helps. The one loss was to the Rams, so a lot of skeptics would say, okay, you lost to the best team that you played, but Broncos, certainly not a bad win. Chargers is a win that looks better after what they did to the Vikings last week. And the Steelers, I'm not even really sure what to make of them anymore. The defense has been so weak. They have the talent to bounce back, but like I mentioned, even independent of everything we've seen in recent games from these two teams, is there a feeling in the crossroads of America that Shane Steichen always seems to have one up on Mike Tomlin? Is that getting talked about as much as it is from the reverse angle here in Pittsburgh so far this week?
Not really. And it should be talked about, despite the fact that both those wins that Steichen has over Tomlin, they were here at Lucas Oil Stadium. They weren't in Pittsburgh. And I think that Pittsburgh's a bit of a different beast in Pittsburgh.
Sure.
And so there's that. I'll tell you what's a little bit different. And that after watching the Colts play against the Chargers and the Titans, and then watching the Steelers, even though they lost to the Packers on Sunday Night Football, they play hard and they hit hard. And that's different. Like the Titans did not do that. And the Chargers did not do that. You mentioned the loss against the Rams. That loss against the Rams, if A.D. Mitchell doesn't drop the ball on the 1 inch line, I think the Colts win that game. And we're talking about them being 8-0. But I get your point. I think that this is going to be kind of a prove it game for the Colts, who have kind of a weakened secondary. So Mooney Ward's on the shelf with a concussion. He's on IR. Jalen Jones might be back this week, but still, even with him, that the secondary, not exactly what you want it to be at the cornerback position. And Aaron Rodgers, you put him against that zone that Anarumo has rolled out the last couple of weeks because they don't have Ward. And I think Aaron Rodgers could have himself a day.
I want to ask you more about the secondary and a local guy on the Colts offensive line, and a little bit about maybe the Steelers quarterback of the future. But first, we're going to take a quick break. I want to tell everybody about Goldberg, Persky, and White. If you've been diagnosed with mesothelioma or lung cancer, call your local attorneys at Goldberg, Persky, and White. For more than 40 years, their firm has represented thousands of lung cancer and mesothelioma victims. Call 1-800-COMPLEX or visit gpwlaw.com for a free consultation. We'll be right back with Kent Sterling on the other side. All right, Kent, one more point from me on this Colts offense and the way they're running the ball. Matt Gonsalves at right guard, he was a guy for the Pitt Panthers for a while there, one of the mainstays of their O-line as a tackle before he got hurt at the end of his college career, but hasn't stopped him from making a name for himself in the NFL. It seems like he must be playing pretty well there on the interior as the kind of inverse to Quentin Nelson.
He is playing well. And so Will Fries was the right guard the last couple of years. He got hurt last year, signed a big deal to go to the Vikings. And you thought, well, maybe because Gonsalves was drafted as a tackle,
right?
Maybe he can slide inside and play. He's done a great job. And I don't, we either we praise the position coach or we demonize the position coach, depending upon the level of the play that they're coaching, right? And what Tony Sparano Jr. is doing with Matt Gonsalves and Tanner Bordolini at center is the first-time starters for this team, and getting them to mesh with Braden Smith and Quentin Nelson, who are 8-year vets, and then Bernard Ryman as well. It has been just kind of masterful. Gonsalves is playing exceptionally well. Bordolini's playing great. Nelson's playing the best that he's played since he was drafted in 2018. And you've got Ryman at the left tackle, who's really, really playing well. So that offensive line is coming together nicely. And the one thing that Sparano preaches is harmony and kind of that complementary level of play where all these guys have to communicate with one another. Nobody points fingers, nobody blames. And Gonsalves, as a really, really smart offensive lineman, fits into that scheme exceptionally well.
Well, Ryman against TJ Watt is going to be a get your popcorn ready matchup. And Nelson against Cam Heyward is always a put on your big boy pants matchup in the trenches. And one of those guys is on top of the NFL world, and the other is pissed off and not happy about much of anything right now. So there could be fireworks there in the in Acrisure Stadium there on the line of scrimmage. All right, Gonsalves is one of those guys that if you weren't a Pitt fan or follower, you probably wouldn't know who he was. On the other side of the ball for the Colts, like you mentioned before the break, Kent, a lot of cornerbacks are playing right now that I'm kind of a year-round like draft junkie, and I'll be honest, I had to go look up from the box score, who is C. Mitchell? Who are some of these guys? What can you tell us about the players that the Colts are running out there right now at corner, and how are they holding up? Is it as simple as the Titans' passing offense is dysfunctional, or DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart are just collapsing the pocket so quickly? I'm sort of amazed, and I agree with you that could be an area of weakness for the Steelers to exploit Sunday.
The pass defense hadn't been great. Buckner's played really, really well. Had 2 sacks in one game, had another sack this past week against Cam Ward. And Lou Anarumo is a guy who's going to try to hide where they're weak and sort of extol the virtues schematically of their strength. And DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart in the middle of that D-line, that's where they're strong. They are not easy to run against. They are easy to throw underneath against. There was a drive against the Chargers. That defense, when the Colts had a lead and they're trying to run out the game, the Colts defense did a really good job of that, allowing the Chargers to keep the ball for 21 plays over 9 minutes. And that was the defense that kind of, and Anarumo hates this term, but they bent, they didn't break. Yeah. You've got to execute over the long haul to be able to score against this team. And they do. They've got, they're starting a guy named Jonathan Edwards.
That was the other one that I was like, I've never heard of this guy. I'm sorry. But
undrafted free agent out of Tulane, a really good, earnest guy who is trying to figure it out as quick as he can. But that defense is really different. When they get Mooney Ward back, they're really good. You could see it in training camp that when Mooney Ward was on the field, they were really good and they clicked really well. When he's off the field, they don't. And that's kind of extended into the regular season. as Ward was hurt. He was concussed during warmups a
Oh,
couple
that's
of
right.
weeks
That was a
ago.
crazy, that was a
Yeah.
crazy play. I saw that.
Drew Ogletree ran into him during warmups, and Ward went down like he'd passed.
Yeah, I shouldn't even say it was a crazy play. It wasn't even a play. It was just a drill, if you want to call it that. If anybody hasn't seen that, go Google that. Yeah, Shrevarius Ward injury, I guess. I mean, scary moment and weakens the Colts secondary that already had Xavier Howard just, vanish, retire early in the year, right?
Sadly, he had no football left in him. You're trying to squeeze the last drop of football that guy's got in him. He had none left.
Right now, Steelers fans are saying that's the same thing that's going on with the corners who are still on the team here in Pittsburgh. But yeah,
And that, I mean, 32nd in passing yards against, right, with the Steelers. And so you wonder if Jones is enough if the Steelers can stop Taylor, which they're going to try to do, do the Steelers have enough of a defense on the back end to be able to stop Daniel Jones and these other guys? This is really the game, I think, where Daniel Jones is going to rise to the level of this competition, this challenge, and kind of say, all right, I'm a legit MVP guy, or he's going to wither a little bit under what is going to be a different level of challenge.
Yeah, and I think fun fact, well, not fun for Daniel Jones, but I'm pretty sure the only career interception for Cam Heyward was against Daniel Jones in 2020 when he was playing for the Giants. So that's neither here nor there, but maybe he'll get another one. All right, Kent, before I let you go, Fernando Mendoza playing for the Hoosiers, near and dear to your home and heart, number 2 in the country. I've had a friend who works out there who put him on my radar way back in January and said, keep an eye on this guy. What's the quick elevator pitch for him being the number 1 pick in next year's draft? And it's in Pittsburgh. The draft's in Pittsburgh. Is he going to be the first guy we see walk across the stage, next to the 3 rivers here?
If he isn't the first quarterback taken, the team that takes somebody else is going to regret it. He comes into the NFL, or will come to the NFL, understanding how to prepare and being able to make every throw. The throw you want to see a guy make is like a 10-yard out to the long side.
Yeah.
To the opposite hash.
You got to have the arm strength for that. Yeah.
And with the receivers he's got, he makes them look good. He hits guys in stride deep. If you give him a window, he's going to throw it through that window. He has been as good as advertised coming from Cal. He's another guy. Like at Cal, you heard that, Mendoza's problem was he had a rag-ass offensive line, and nobody can throw the ball accurately with 5 guys bearing down on him every time the ball's snapped.
Yeah, you can't step up. You can't go through your progressions. Yeah.
So this has been, it's kind of like same thing with the Colts and Daniel Jones. Your wildest hopes have become reality, that Mendoza is absolutely as good as everybody said he might be, and so is Daniel Jones. I think Indiana runs the table. I think it's going to, in your neck of the woods, it's that game against Penn State that kind of scares you, even though Penn State hasn't won a Big Ten game. Indiana going into Happy Valley and getting that win. If they get that win, they go undefeated in the regular season, and they're playing in Indianapolis in a game I never thought Indiana would see, and that's a Big Ten championship.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be like a Game of Thrones-esque scenario there where if Penn State pulls off the upset, Kirk Cignetti actually does have to get absorbed into State College, and he will then need to coach the Nittany Lions after all. So that'll be the real stakes there for the Hoosiers.
He just isn't even going to come home. He's just going to stay in Happy Valley, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, they're going to just lock him up like Space Jam. He'll be on the mountain there like Michael Jordan, and he'll have to get cracking on next year's recruiting class. But well, hey, thanks so much, Ken. I guess with high praise for Mendoza, but he's gone from someone who I thought could be the best fit for the Steelers in this draft class, assuming Aaron Rodgers is done. And now, I don't even know if they'll have enough ammunition to go up and get him, because he might be too high and out of their price range, as always seems to happen to them with quarterbacks.
You never know with the draft combine. GMs are going to come and believe what they see and elevate others over a guy who's
they'll nitpick guys. Yeah.
So you never know.
Absolutely. Well, hey, hopefully TJ McConnell gets healthy soon for the Pacers, and he can add some Pittsburgh flavor out there in Indiana. Kent, thanks again. You want to tell people where they can find you if they want to dive into some more Colts talk and maybe even some Hoosiers talk the rest of this week?
Just go to YouTube and put Kent Sterling in the search bar, and off you're going to go. Block out the rest of your day.
All right. Well, there we go. He's got plenty. Thanks again to Kent Sterling. Appreciate everybody joining us here on Chipped Ham and Football. We will see you all next time.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.